healing people, individuals, preventing disease in individuals, but also had this capacity to think systemically, to think about the problems of healthcare in society, and to reform healthcare in society.
Because of this challenge of treating the patient and treating the whole system at once, it constantly gives me that push to make things better for this country.
The double degree, it's an MD MBA. The MD degree provides them the skills to actually be good physicians, to treat individuals, to prevent illness in individuals. The MBA gives them the foundations to understand organizations, to understand institutions, their financing, the way they're structured, the way you might have to reform them.
Many people, I think, go to graduate school, say get an MBA, because they expect to move ahead in their professions and, to be honest, to become rich. We're more demanding from our professional students or our professional schools, I think, because we're trying to say to them, you have to ask yourselves the question, why are you good? For whom are you good? We in the professional schools are deeply committed and very passionate about helping the country move towards prosperity. And we will do this by forming professionals whose skills and hearts will not only be for themselves, but for the country. For our short ceremony this afternoon, we have prepared 4 commemorative bricks representing the 4 schools. Each brick is inscribed with the Ateneo seal and the name of the individual school. Already signed by the president of the Ateneo and myself, these commemorative bricks will be signed tonight by the dean of each school. The bricks represent APS' strong foundation that has allowed us to come to this point in our history. On this, our 40th anniversary, the bricks also symbolize the laying of the foundation of a bigger APS, which will start with the building of a 5th floor and a mezzanine on the Rockwell campus. In the presence of our guest of honor, His Excellency President Benigno S. Aquino III, and our University President, Father Jose Ramon T. Villarin, may I now call on the 4 deans of the Ateneo Professional Schools. Dean Antonio Lavinia, please come forward and sign for the Ateneo School of Government. Dean Alberto Vendiaje, please come forward and sign for the Graduate School of Business. Dean Manuel Dairit, please come forward and sign for the School of Medicine and Public Health. Associate Dean Lily Gruba, please come forward and sign for the Ateneo School of Law. May we now call our University President, Father Jose Ramon T. Villarin of the Society of Jesus, to introduce our guest of honor.
We learned leadership. We were student leaders many decades ago when we were still young and foolish. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III, President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Salamat po. Thank you. Please sit down. At magandang gabi na po sa inyo lahat. I just want to be clear, no? Si Father Jet and I were both in the Sangguniang, and yung many decades is just being precise, no? Kasi more than 1 decade. No? Pero yung many decades might give you the impression na baka sa Padre Faura kami nun. Hindi, no? Yeah. Nakikisimba lang ko kami sa Padre Faura. No? Okay. Father Jet Villarin, Father Tony Moreno, Dr. Antoinette Palma Angeles, Dr. Manuel Dairit, Dr. Tony Lavinia, Mr. Alberto Buenviaje, Associate Dean Lily Gruba, Chairman Francisco Duque, officials, fellow alumni, students, and staff of the Ateneo de Manila University, fellow works of government, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, again, good evening. I have to apologize for being late, no? And there is only just one reason. I wasn't, as usual, happy with the speech. We had to correct all of the points, no? When Father Jet, who is my senior, asked me to... Well, you can check the guide on. You will see no, who came before. But anyway, when he said, "Can you speak before the Ateneo Professional Schools?" Of course, I said yes. Then afterwards, I said, "I have a Bachelor of Arts degree. I'm going to talk to everybody who's aiming for a master's or has several PhDs." Of course, I have a few PhDs now. Kaya lang honoris causa. So, when I looked at the speech, not to my usual standards, no? So we had to correct all of the points. It wasn't as bad as the SONA. The SONA normally takes about a minimum of 9 revisions. Dito naman 4 lang, which we started to do about 3 p.m. this afternoon. Okay? Hopefully, this amounted to something worthwhile of your time. And after saying all these things in English, let me now revert to Filipino. Naalala ko po na nung nag-aaral ako sa Ateneo, isa sa mga tumatak sa akin ang sinabi ng guro ko sa political science na si Bilibining Shirley Advincula. Panahon ng martial law noon at nakita ng teacher namin na wala kaming ganong ganang magsaulo ng konstitusyon. Nang nasa isip namin, ano pa ang punto ng pag-aaral ng saligang batas kung maya't maya ay pwede itong baguhin ng isang diktador para mapagsilbihan ang kanyang pagnanasa sa kapangyarihan. Ang sabi sa amin ni Binibining Advincula noon, darating ang panahon na kayo naman ang hahawak sa kapangyarihan. Paano nyo gagawin ang tama kung hindi nyo alam ang pagkakaiba nito sa mali? Ibinabahagi ko po ito sa inyo kasi alam kong sa professional at Loyola schools, mula mission vision statement hanggang sa disenyo ng curricula at immersion, pati na sa mga outreach programs, ang habol ng Ateneo ay maghulma ng mga estudyante magsisilbing lux in domino. I hope I said that correctly. Panahon namin kasi para just to show you how young we were. Wala na ho kami Latin eh. No? Practical electronics na ho pinalit sa amin nun. Or light in the Lord, which I had to ask Father Jet to make sure that the translation was correct. Okay. Para sa akin, para maging isang mahusay na pinuno na magsisilbing gabay sa paglalakbay ng sambayanan, hindi pwedeng matalino ka lang o maraming karanasan. Kailangan malinaw rin sa iyo kung ano ang tama at mali. Dahil kung hindi, maliligaw lang kayo na mga inaakay mo. Paikot-ikot kayo sa paglalakbay. Kaya ilang taon man ang lumipas, hindi nyo masasabing may nangyaring pag-usad na mayroong nagbago. Ganyan po mismo ang nasa isip ko nung nagsimula akong mangampanya bilang kandidato sa pagkapangulo. Ipinaliwanag ko sa ating mga kababayan na nalalagay tayo sa isang sangandaan at panahon na para piliin ang daang matuwid imbis na magpatuloy sa paglalakad sa baluktot at paikot-ikot na landas na nagdudulot lamang ng kahirapan. Ang sabi ko nga, kung walang kurap, walang mahirap. Tumugon naman ang sambayanan sa aking imbitasyon, pinili nila akong maging gabay sa paglalakbay at bilang gabay, Luxing Domino, hindi ko po itinuring ang sarili ko bilang bituin na kailangan tingalain para malaman ko saan dapat pumunta. Isa akong gabay na kasama sa paghahakbang ng mga mamamayan. Dahil sa Ateneo ko rin natutunan ito, ang Luxing Domino ay tao para sa kapwa, man for others. Hindi tao para sa sarili, hindi tao para sa mga klase, hindi tao para sa mga kafrat, hindi tao para sa mga alumni, tao para sa kapwa. Ngayong araw, alalahanin nating lahat ng matitinding alalahanin natin lahat na matinding pagpapakumbaba at kamalayan sa sarili ang kinakailangan upang maging tao para sa kapwa. Sa usapin ng pagpapakumbaba, alam mong matibay ang iyong paninindigan. Alam mong matagal mong pinag-aralan ng batas, medisina, pagnenegosyo o pamamahala. Pero kailangan mong tanggapin na hindi lang ikaw ang solusyon sa problema, na mas marami kang magagawa kung makikipagtulungan ka sa iba. Ako bilang Pangulo, inaamin kong hindi po ako perpekto sa lahat ng bagay sa lahat ng panahon. Malinaw rin sa akin na may mga bagay na hindi ko masusolusyonan o mapapagdesisyonan kung walang tulong ng iba. Naalala ko nga nung may kailangan kaming iresolba ni Secretary Monpay at ni Secretary Babe Singson tungkol sa pagpuputol ng puno at pagsasaayos ng mga daan. Malaki ang naitulong sa atin ni Father Jet. Siya ang nagpaliwanag na may mga punong pwede namang palitan. Imbis na gumastos ng 100,000,000 piso para iwasan ang mga punong luma, pwede naman palang palitan ang mga punong... Nakaka-curious. Kita ko yung mukha ho niyo, parang curious na curious kayo. Paliwanag ko na ng konti. Okay? Okay. Sabi ho kasi ng ating mga kaibigan na nagbabantay ng kalikasan, bakit yung puputulin niya napakatatandang mga punong yan? Malaki yung tinutulong sa ating environment. Piniliwanag po ni Father Jet sa atin, yung puno parang tao raw ho. Pag bata ka, at bigyan ko isang sample, meron membro ng varsity team ng swimming varsity team natin noon. So, nung araw na to, ang training ho nila 5 o'clock in the morning, sumunod ng mga kanyang quizzes at exams, ang una po niyang pagkain ay naging tanghalian. So, sa Loyola siya nag-aaral, nung tanghalian, kumain siya doon sa isang Mongolian restaurant sa Katipunan, kung saan pinawi niya yung kanyang gutom. So, kinain lang naman po niya yung 16 na bowl ng Mongolian. No? At tinanong ko sa kanya ako, ano ba pakiramdam tapos nun? Sabi niya, nakalakad ako hanggang kanto, okay na ako. Okay, now, nakita ko rin naman nung kumain to at another occasion, dahil anak po ng kaibigan ko, 2 pong steak, 1 bilao ng sashimi, kalahati ng cake, saka 2 litro na soft drinks, at hindi ko narinig na dumigay. Okay. So, punto lang ho nito, yung mga puno raw ho, habang yung tumatanda at lumalaki, napakahusay mag-convert ng carbon dioxide to oxygen. Tama ba, Father Jet? Buwababa ang efficiency pag tumanda dahil konti na yung kailangan niya carbon dioxide to complete the whole process, no, of photosynthesis, etc., etc. Yung kung gusto niyo mas malalim pang explanation, pwede naman natin i-google yan. Basta bottom line, no, replace the old tree dahil ang requirement to namin, when you take down a tree, you have to replace it with multiples of that tree. Get the younger tree that will produce more oxygen to replace the carbon dioxide that's already in the air. As opposed to leaving the tree that's old that hardly, parang halos zero sum yan. So, we can satisfy the ecological concerns, we can satisfy the economic concerns, we can satisfy all sectors of society who are expressing an opinion with regards to what to do with the old trees that were in the way of the necessary infrastructure. And after having said all of that, it was just one phone call wherein Father Jet helped me solve that problem and try to please everybody kung pwede all the time. Okay. Si Tina Montiel naman po, professor ko, well, actually, come to think of it, she wasn't actually my professor. She was our faculty advisor sa Student Council. At kaibigan po natin, at moderator nga ho namin noon, sa Zamboanga crisis po, isa siya sa mga tinawagan ko in trying to understand the people from the rogue MNLF forces and how to handle them. No? Pero siyempre nga, yung kumakapalhobo ako, tinawagan ko si Tina, no? Tinawagan ko siya ng parang binigyan natin ng konting datos tungkol sa mga kalaban natin, lahat ng nalikom po namin, at hinihingan natin sa kanya ng professional opinion. Siyempre, pwede niya isagot yung mga generic. No? But the thing is, and siguro, para naitulungan sa amin yun, para timplahin ang tamang pakikitungo sa mga taong handang gumamit ng dahas para maisulong kanilang layunin. Kahit nung hindi pa ako presidente, nung Marcelo po, tinawagan ko naman si Achut, ngayon Koy Keng, ang aming pong chemistry professor nung araw, para magtanong kung paano ba labanan ang hinahagis na tirga sa amin nung panahon na kami nasa oposisyon. Nakakatuwa nga pong isipin, dahil atinista ako, napakadali kong tumawag sa kapwa atinista, kaya marami akong natitipid na oras sa paghahanap ng tamang solusyon sa iba't at samusaring problema. Di po ba mas maliwanag ang pagtanglaw ng mga individual na ilaw kapag pinagsama-sama? Kasabay ng pagdiriwang at pagsasariwa sa 4-as-1, naway huwag nating makaligtaan na itong 4-as-1 ay 4-as-1 for others. Manindigan sana tayo na ang ating pagpapakadalubhasa ay hindi para sa ating mga personal na interes, kundi para sa mga nasa labas ng bakod at pader ng professional schools. Na nagkakapit-bisig tayo para higit na makapaglingkod imbis na magkuntsabahan para lamangan ang mga nasa lugar na malayo dito sa ating munting burol. Magaling ang mga tinista at natutuwa ako na marami sa kanila ang katuwang natin sa paglilingkod sa mamamayang Pilipino. Subalit, hindi rin naman natin dapat kalimutang may mga tinistang hindi sa matuwid ginagamit ang kanilang liwanag. Sa pagkaalala ko, bahagi rin ng pagiging atinista ang pagtatanong sa katapusan ng bawat araw kung tama ba ang nagawa ko. Kung may naitulong ba ako sa pagpapalaganap ng pagbabagong matatamaasan ng lahat at hindi ng iilan lang. Kung pwede ba akong humarap sa kapwa ko at sabihin lahat ng ito ay para sa iyo. Sa panahon ngayon, napakakomplikado ng mga batas, ng mga usaping sakop na ekonomiya, ng kalusugan, ng kalikasan o ng katarungan. Isang matingkad na halimbawa lang nito ay ang naging komplikasyon sa pagkakatalaga sa dating Chief Justice Renato Corona. Sa mga nag-aaral ng batas dito, di ba malinaw na maaari lang pumasok ang isang korte kapag, and I quote, may justiciable controversy ripe for judicial determination. Okay. Ibig sabihin ho nun, kung wala pang, di ba, walang i-resolve ang conflict, wala pang dapat desisyonan ang korte. Tumatango ho sa atin, ating mga batigang abogado nasa bandang kalagitan ng kwarto. Okay. Tanong po ngayon, may controversy ba talaga? Pag-upo ng susunod ng Pangulo, ito po yun noong 2010, meron pong 45 araw na natitira o kalahati na itinakdang panahon na salig ang batas para maglagay ng kapalit ng ating pong Chief Justice. Okay. Ngayon, meron doon sa Article 7 on the Executive or the Chief Executive, Section 15, na nagsasabing hindi maaaring magtalaga sa anumang posisyon 2 buwan bago ang eleksyon pampangulo at yung nga po, sa Article 8, Section 4 naman, which talks of the judiciary, na nagsasabing kailangan magtalaga ng punong maestrado sa Korte Suprema. Interpretasyon po ba ito o tahasang manipulasyon ng Korte Suprema sa Konstitusyon? Kayo na po ang bahala magpasa. Ulitin ko lang, no? Yung ulitin natin controversy. Sabi na may controversy, kailangan ka maglagay within 90 days. Nag-retire si Chief Justice Puno, no, at pumasok si Chief Justice Corona 1 week after the elections. Hindi ka na pwedeng, yung President can no longer appoint except in executive positions until the end of the term. The incoming President will have half of that mandated in the Constitution to fill up the vacancy. Therefore, the conflict was started there. But they decided, and the rest is history. Okay. Kaya na po ulit, bahala magpasa. At ano nga po ulit ang naging posisyon, matanong ko lang, ano po ba naging posisyon ng Ateneo sa usaping ito? Kasi may nabalitaan ho kasi ako sa simula ay nagsabing, noong umpisa sabi niya, mali o hindi pwede magtalaga ang outgoing president. Pagkatapos po ng ilang buwan, o ilang panahon, nagbago ang posisyon na nang nagpasa ang Korte Suprema at sinabi niya, tama ang Korte Suprema, pwedeng magtalaga ang presidenteng outgoing. Parang mahirap naman yata maging tanglaw kung maya't maya ay pabago-bago ang direksyon. Di po ba? Okay. Mula noong manungkulan ako, nagbago ang pangalang ginagamit ko bilang pantukoy sa others na aking pinaglilingkuran. Tinawag ko silang mga boss dahil habang ginagabayan ko sila, ay ginagabayan din nila ako. Tapos na ang panahon kung saan wala silang kalaban-laban at pakinabang sa pagkilos ng pamahalaan. At ang nangyayari ngayon ay isang sama-samang paghakbang sa tuwid na landas. Alam ko na malayo pa ang kailangan lakbayin. Pero kumpiyansa ako na sa ganitong pagtingin, hindi magtatagal ay mararating din natin ang isang mas maliwanag na bukas. Maganda siguro magtapos bilang paalala sa isa sa mga katagang ibinahagi sa atin ni Padre Roque Ferriols. And I quote, nasabi na ang dapat masabi, pero ang pinakamahalaga ay hindi pa rin nasasabi. Ito'y magagawa lamang. Close quote. Maraming salamat. Magandang gabi po sa inyo.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Presidente. May we now call on Dr. Tonette Palma Angeles back on stage.
Our deans will now ask the President their questions. Dean Lavinia.
Magandang hapon, Mr. President. Dalawa pong tanong ko. What have been your most difficult leadership challenges, and how do you cope with these challenges?
You know, we have 2 years and 3 months and so many days left. Ito iniisip ko. Siguro parang pinakamahirap more than anything, it's really the cost or the emotional cost on everybody else that is helping me in this route. I can go just outside my office, which they call the private office. No? Tapos yung one of my oldest staff members, oldest meaning hindi physical age, pero yung length of time that she's been with me, she has this calendar, yung old style calendar na pinupunit mo yung pahina. And it marks the number of days left. No? And parang the end of the day is marked by a joyous occasion for her when she has to remove, when she gets to remove one more page. When I look at my sister siguro, for instance, or even if I look at my nephews and nieces, parang the end of my term marks the beginning of normalcy in their lives. No? So, the question that is in my mind, no, ako baka pwede pa akong go another 20 rounds of everything that has to deal with this job. But I don't think I'm prepared to sacrifice everybody else's lives. So, really, they're just I think there's a severe challenge it's that. Paano? I think I'm achieving something. I think we are achieving a lot of things. But there is tremendous emotional toil on those who really mean parang the best for you. Ayaw ko, baka yun ang vulnerability. I get affected by how all of these people who are really trying to do their bit in contributing to the efforts of transforming society have to pay just to be able to achieve it. Now, how do I cope with it? Siyempre, at the end of the day, no? Parang when you have a very complex problem, I have to be able to satisfy myself that I did everything I could. Then I'm humble enough, I hope, no? To remember that at the end of the day, I talk to God. Baka naman mali, I talk to God. I pray to God and say, and I'll share with you the prayer. No? I ask that we may be made instruments of His will, that we are able to create His kingdom here on earth, and the third is to shield us from our enemies. And a lot of times I'm calmed by that. Tapos may mga other physical things like, a lot of times hindi naman pwede sabihin everyday, pero I tend to listen to some music before I retire. In fact, I'm beginning to appreciate classical music these days. Kasi pag nakinig tayo ng mga current songs, I'm sure a lot of people here have heard of Adele, di ba? Tapos syempre CD, re-repeat mo. Kaya pag i-listen to Adele na on repeat, parang nakaka-depress afterwards. Parang nawawala yung uplifting moments. Or time to time, even something as simple as a meal, you share with some friends. Natuwa ka, nangiti ka. Sa time to time, may ability ka pa para makangiti ng konti. Okay na rin. So, and again, the challenges, when you look at it, it's really just a question of prioritizing. Will I spend most of my time answering the cottage industry of critics that has sprung up? Or, di ba? Parang follow Father Olagar's advice before. Wala sa debate, wala sa usapan, sa gawa na lang. No? And I tend to follow that advice. No? And why spend the time debating with somebody who never had an open mind? Why not just do what has to be done?
Thank you. Dean Benviaje.
Mr. President, you actually answered my first question already, but maybe the other question which I wanted to ask is, what more can the Ateneo do at this point for leaders like yourself?
Well, I guess anybody in politics, no, and everybody who has the responsibility to do something, like any CEO in a corporation, will always have to produce the results yesterday. And there is a tendency for some, to look at too much on the details and forget the big picture. And those in academe will have that opportunity and the freedom to be able to look at the bigger picture and perhaps remind us that certain components will not be neglected while trying to achieve the day-to-day results that we're all hoping for. So, and when we want to, for instance, Yolanda, the School of Government, I think, is helping us somehow in our disaster risk reduction system and our response system is heavily dependent on the quality of a local government unit.
And we had an experience now of, di ba? I'm trying to find the word to make it diplomatic. Pero basically, the backbone wasn't there. How do you replace that backbone instantly in the midst of a disaster? And that is, we learn something new with each event. And that is something that, how do you institutionalize all the necessary skills and even the development of such skills? And how do you institutionalize also the replacement in case that which is being counted upon is not, does not perform up to snuff?
Thank you, Mr. President. Dean Dairy.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Just two quick questions. Do you think Ateneans today are rising to the challenge of leadership? If yes, in what ways? If no, in what ways? And finally, how do you think young people should prepare themselves to be leaders in this country?
Can I answer the second question first? No. My dad told me before kasi knowledge is power. And both of our parents encouraged us to read. Umpisa, syempre, like any other kids, they read us various fairy tales. No? Tapos we graduated to Classics Illustrated. Tapos we were encouraged to spend the excess of the allowance on buying books. Syempre ngayon, mas padali na. You have a laptop, you have access to the internet, you can ask any question you want and somehow somebody will propound an answer. Of course, yung challenges are different. Sa amin dati economics, how many books can you buy? Ngayon naman, you have all of the information. Your problem is which of this is garbage and which of this is useful. And of course, how do you overcome the first thing that first portion of information that you get, you have no basis to judge whether it's garbage or not. Okay? How do you prepare? First, prepare yourself. Yeah. Second, and preparing yourself really has to have that open mind. I don't possess all of the truths. Yeah? I don't possess all of... I'm not the be-all and end-all of everything. That whole experience, humility has to be there. No? And I think I read it from that, the start of all knowledge begins with the simple statement, I don't know. When you start out with, I know everything, hanggang dyan ka na lang. No. Okay, now, sorry, the first question was...
Do you think Ateneans are rising to the challenges
yes,
of leadership?
Look at so many people. No? Yung my generation muna, si Chito Cruz with the NHA. No? Parang every time, they have the program na under informal settlers. Tapos yung housing for the poor to begin with. Every time there's a disaster, for instance, we now have a plan to move communities in danger 40 meters at least from the shoreline. Kasama lang naman siya doon, from scouting the land, to developing the land, to formulating yung amortization, to actually producing, to contracting, to finding the best technologies to put this in place as soon as possible. And he never came up to me and said, Boss, hindi na namin kaya to. Amongst the things that he has produced for our Men in New Reform, I think by August of last year, if I'm not mistaken, they actually completed between 51 to 52,000 housing units. Okay. Now, what does that do? If you're in the NCR, you're a policeman, you're an AFP soldier, you pay something like between 3,000 to 5,000 in rent. No? The houses that they built, they pay an amortization of 200 pesos a month, which will balloon to 1,000 pesos on the 25th year. Okay? So effectively, parang we returned at least 2,800 in disposable income to these people. Then we can actually demand na baka naman pwedeng bawasan natin